Hey everybody, McRaj here. Today I'm gonna ramble on a bit about how I got debt free. I started off with student debt, like many of you. I had about $23,000 straight out of college. I bought a car in the mid 2000s, but I did have it paid off in 2.5 years. And then my wife and I got married in 2009. She had significant debt of her own in comparable categories. She also had a bit of credit card debt, and we just started chipping away at it right away. And in addition to just simply living frugally, living below our means in pretty much every category, the big break came after living 1 year in California right after we got married, and then 1 year in the Philadelphia area. We were still renting. It was just a 1-bedroom apartment, and we thought, wouldn't it be great if we could somehow buy something like what we're living in? We looked around. Sure enough, exactly a mile away, closer to the city, there was a 1-bedroom condo, and it was a foreclosure. It was going for $35K. It was still a little out of our price range, but I did some research. I found out you can take $10K out of your retirement without penalty as long as it is towards the purchase of your first home. And so that counted as our first home. So we got our savings together. We got the $10K out of retirement. And as soon as we bought that condo, we were living without paying rent or a mortgage. So we just saved all that money. And in just 2 years, we had enough for a down payment on a house. We sold the condo for a $20,000 profit, and we were able to use that money to completely pay off the mortgage on our 3-bedroom house that we had purchased in South Jersey. So that's where the big break happened. We were still able to we sold the condo way under market value, so the guy who bought it even got a good deal, but we were just thrilled to have the 20 grand more than we paid for it, and we got to live essentially mortgage free, rent free for 2 years. And as soon as you get mortgage free, rent free, you're going to save money much faster. And we've essentially we purchased a new car a couple years ago that we paid with cash, and we've since purchased another home with cash. So we did sell that one in South Jersey, and then we rolled the money over into the house that we are currently in. We also own an RV outright, and I still have that car that I purchased many years ago. It's a 25-year-old car now, but it's still kicking. So we're just gonna drive that one into the ground. We do have like a nicer one now, for when we want to, show off to the normies, like, hey, we can buy shiny new things like you can too, except they're up to their eyeballs in debt, most of them. So a few key takeaways here. Look for foreclosures if you're looking to buy. Don't get into 30-year mortgage, or you are guaranteed pretty much to be in debt for the next 3 decades. And then a lot of people refi. They're in debt for a lot longer than that. I mean, sometimes that's just the way to go. For us, the 1-bedroom condo worked out, and we made up our minds. Even if we have a kid, even if we get pregnant, we would just put a crib in the 1-bedroom. Eventually, we knew we were going to expand, and we did. Even without children, we upsized to a 3-bedroom house, and it was still, it was kind of like a and the house wasn't ritzy by any means. It was in, a working class neighborhood, and it was fairly small for a 3-bedroom house, and it it was 1 floor, no real basement, no upstairs, but it suited our needs fine, had a nice backyard, and it was in a safe place. That's the big thing. The condo that we bought was in a safe place as well. And we could have compromised. I know people who bought in areas that were kind of sketchy, but they'd wind up having bullet holes in their vehicles, and they'd hear gunshots at night. So that was something we were not willing to compromise on, live in an unsafe place just so we could afford it. So the one-bedroom condo worked out great. I think that's really something, especially if you're renting in an apartment, try to find a foreclosed condo, because you can go live in it. And then, it's just a permanent, it's not a permanent thing, it's just temporary. Just stay there until you've saved up enough money for a down payment on whatever it is you want. You could. Every month, pay yourself first. That's another thing. Pay yourself first. Before you even set aside money to pay your bills or do anything fun, the pay yourself part is when you take, we set out to, I think we did $1,000 a month in the beginning. We put $1,000 a month when we both get paid in our savings, and it was only going to be touched in case of a dire emergency. I think your strategy may have to change nowadays a little bit, because you don't want to have a huge chunk of money just sitting in a savings account these days with all the, the shenanigans going on with the banks. But still, the principle remains the same.